Well, Rob, it's nice to meet you. And as much as I would love to spend this entire time speaking about our love for Springsteen, I got to find out about you and your love for sports. So let's kind of set the record straight here. Where does your allegiances lie? Is it Ohio or is it Los Angeles?
Well, I'll always be a son of Ohio, and I love. I got to I got to play at the Memorial with Mr. Nicholas this year, and that was a thrill. And got to have an evening in the Horseshoe, and so I love my Buckeyes, but I'm an LA sports guy.
Okay, so is it Dodgers, Lakers?
Dodgers,
Okay.
Dodgers more than anything. In the 70s and 80s and all of that. Well, in the 70s, when I moved there, I was still a Reds fan, so I couldn't be a Dodger fan. But over time, I've completely transitioned. I'm full Dodgers. Lakers, I had season seats for 15 years, and Rams when they were originally there, and now that they're there again. But the Dodgers are the first tier, and frankly, no one else really comes close in terms of the amount of attention I pay.
Well, what do you remember about those Tommy Lasorda days?
Oh my gosh. Well, I got to know Tommy really well over the years, and there's never been a better character. And even when Tommy retired, one of the great things was to sit with Tommy at a Dodger game and listen to his X-rated analysis of the game that was going on. Um, a lot of people were bums, as it
Mhm.
turns out. Uh, but I also loved Tommy as a manager. He was a lot of the managers are feel like they're politicians first, and and they don't maybe have the kind of fire. I mean, nobody gets thrown out. Very few people get thrown out anymore, and Tommy was never afraid to get tossed.
Oh boy. I mean, where do you remember that Kirk Gibson home run? I mean, I know everybody goes back to that, especially when talking about the Tommy Lasorda days, but I feel like that's one of those moments where everybody remembers exactly where they were when that happened.
Yeah, I was there. I was in the stadium.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I was there. I What people forget about that though is not only was it there no way Kirk Gibson was going to get a hit, and indeed he was down with ugly swing after ugly swing, 3 and 2. It was just a matter of time. There's no way, but he kept prolonging the at bat, prolonging what you knew was the inevitable ugly, sad swing. We all know what happened. Um, but if you watch the at bat and the totality of the at bat, which takes a while, it is even more of an incredible achievement.
Well, while working, I mean, you've had a long career. How have you been able to, I guess, keep up with the Dodgers and all your other teams while traveling, while working? And for example, working on your new series, Unstable, especially with your son, John Owen, are you able to keep up and keep track of those teams?
I mean, think. I mean, remember when? Well, you're younger than me, but when I was a kid, you had to wait for This Week in Baseball,
Mm-hmm.
and the local news wouldn't even show you your own team's highlights. So we live in the golden age. I mean, last night I was watching Clayton Kershaw's return as I was driving between meetings in Manhattan on my phone on my MLB app, and I'm headed to Ireland tomorrow to start shooting. And I just told my assistant to make sure we're streaming the surfing, the Olympic surfing,
Mm-hmm.
which is at Chopu. And I'm a surfer, and that is so gnarly that they're doing, and the swell is on. It is going to be carnage,
Well,
absolute carnage.
speaking of the Summer Olympics, are is that your favorite Summer Olympic event?
Oh man, it's my favorite sort of, as my grandpa would call, newfangled event. Like, I'm not down with a lot of the new Olympic sports. I kind of roll my eyes. It's like, we
Mm-hmm.
get it. You want young people to watch. Thanks. We get it. But it's like, it's the Olympics, guys. Come on.
Not a handball fan.
Yeah. I mean, there's some of them that are really egregious. I'm trying to think of what they are. Well, skateboarding isn't in yet, is it? I don't think
I don't believe so. I think that's still just sticking with X Games.
that belongs in the X Games.
Okay. Well, I want to now kind of talk about the meme scene around the world. You in your NFL Shield hat. What is the history behind that? I mean, where did that even come from?
So I I have a show on Fox called 911 Lone Star. Uh, Fox was covering that game. I believe it was the AFC Championship game. I think,
Okay.
and they invited me to go, and I went, and I knew they were going to cut to me on camera, and then say, and here's Rob Lowe from the show. Blah blah blah. They offered me a selection of hats to wear. Two of them were the super cool but really busy, like both teams' logos with AFC championships, and I feel like I have 100 of those because I've been lucky enough to go to it. And then there was that clean, classic, all black, just with shield. And I thought, is that a referee's hat? That's like a it's like a ref's hat. That's so sick. I've never seen one like that before. And I put it on, and then and the next thing you know, it was meme history. Yeah, I had no idea what was going to transpire.
Well, I've done some digging into your Instagram, and I know you've kind of talked about it recently, but you've coached Magic Johnson and Michael Jordan in a charity game. First of all, how did that opportunity come about? And then what was it like kind of coaching them, kind of being in the huddle, hearing them, talking to them?
Uh, like as a lifelong Lakers fan, particularly that era, um, Magic and I both kind of came up. Well, not kind of. We did come up at the same time. He was a rookie, I think, in 1979-80 season. I got my first TV show 1979-80 season, more or less the same age. So he was everything to me, and we've been friends for many, many, many years. And he asked me to coach his annual charity game, and at that point, he was the biggest star in the league by far. No one was close. So everybody showed. If you were in the NBA, you showed. So we had everybody from, Clyde Drexler, Karl Malone, Mark Jackson, Magic Johnson. The lineup was nuts. But I got Magic and MJ on the same team. They scored 200 points and lost.
Speaking of Lakers, and I'm sure you've heard this, your lookalike, Rob Pelinka, have you two talked about how very similarly you look?
Oh yeah, we and I was a longtime friends with the Buss family. Dr. Buss was an amazing friend, and so Jeannie and I remain friends. And I think it was season before last. She invited me to come to. They do an introductory dinner for all the season ticket holders, and they talk about the season and the players and what they think was going to happen. And she let it up. Rob's going to talk to you about this, and Rob's going to talk to you about that, and Rob's made some off-season moves, and Rob this and Rob that, and I came out.
Oh, that's hilarious. That is so great. Well, I know we're running out of time here, but I want to finish up with a few quick fire mixed bag questions. So, on your
Yeah.
podcast, literally, if you could have one sports related guest, who would it be and what would you want to talk to them about?
Wow. I think Tiger Woods, because I
Okay.
haven't met him. He's
Oh,
probably my one. People ask me all the time, "Who is there one person that you haven't?" I just have never met him, and I'm a huge fan. There'll never be another like him. I like everything about him. I like his swagger, his grit, his accomplishment. I would love to have the goat on my podcast.
do you have a bucket list event that you haven't been to that you want to get to?
I've been really lucky. I was just talking to somebody a minute ago about how I got to see Tyson in the era where people didn't survive the first round. I feel pretty lucky. That said, it would be unbelievable to be on a boat at Chopu watching this surfing contest. People are going to people who just have a passing knowledge about surfing are going to have their minds blown.
That's interesting. Well, if you could play any sports figure in a film or series, who would it be and why? And it can't be Rob Palinka. We got to go outside. Got to go outside the box here.
Wow. I mean, it's funny. Somebody just gave me there's a I think it's a Pulitzer Prize winning Vince Lombardi biography. I think called When Honor Mattered. Great book to make into a movie, and I'm going. Is there with the right prosthetics? I mean, it'd be heavy prosthetics. Could I do it? I'm like, I don't know. I would. How about this? Let's remake Brian's song.
Ooh, okay. Who are you going to play? Brian Piccolo?
I'm playing Brian Piccolo in the remake of Brian's song. Oh, and the other movie I've seriously been trying to remake forever is The Champ.
Okay. That's a good one.
But both movies are are one of the only times a dude will go to a theater and cry their eyes out.
Oh, Brian's song gets me every time.
Yeah.
Now, last one, and this one's just for me. Do you have tickets for a Bruce concert coming up?
Okay, so on my TikTok algorithm, which knows me better than anything, it just brought up Bruce playing Bobby Jean on this date in 1984 in Toronto, and I realized I was at that show.
Okay, that was Born in the USA tour. Yeah.
Yeah, it was the very beginning of the
Yeah.
Born USA tour. I will be going when he comes to LA, 100%. I've already seen him on this leg of the tour.
Okay.
Wait, he already played LA. I saw him. He won't be back in LA. He was great. He was fantastic.
I'll be seeing him at See Here Now in Asbury Park in 2 months. So excited for that.
Yeah, it's and I love he's doing so many deep cuts now. It's fantastic.
Oh, it's perfect. Well, Rob, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for it, and hope to speak to you again soon.
Thanks, man. That was great. Appreciate you.